The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Salem Fire, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus job number 40385. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting first, on the face of the front bumper on the passenger side, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Just inside that location, you'll have dual air horns on the passenger and driver's side. Directly in the center, you'll find your unit identifier. As we move to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks. These are not intended for towing and are used for operational use, 6,000 pounds direct pull. Just under the headlight structure, you'll find your lower zone emergency warning lights. On the A-pillar, lower section, you'll find your marker turn indicator light. As we move just inside that location, it's the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Above that, you'll find emergency warning lights. As we move to the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. And out to the A-pillar, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find your 5 identification clearance lights. Located directly in the center, a forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof of the apparatus is your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a quick look at the side of the apparatus. Starting now with the front axle, you'll find a visual sight gauge into the center of the axle area, Alcoa wheel, and Goodyear tire. Moving toward the front section of the cab, you'll find an emergency warning light, side facing. Just up from that location is your marker turn indicator light. Easily accessible with a gloved hand, these are your door lock and latch, combination, and also lock. Next to that, you'll find grab handles for gaining entry and exit and maintaining 3 points of contact. You'll also find a keyless entry push button, shoreline power auto eject. Moving up to the top of the cab forward section, you'll find a Go Light spotlight. Moving to the over windshield area, side-facing scene light. As we move to the lower section, you'll find an emergency warning light side-facing, and then also D-handle gains you access into the saddle compartment at the rear cab. We'll come back to the pump section in great detail. Let's move on to the body section next, where you'll find your folding wheel chocks. There are 2, one in front and one in rear of the axle. Marker turn indicator light just in front of the rear axle. Pan doors for storage of SCBA bottle storage and fuel locations. Emergency warning light over the rear axle. As we move up to the very top section of the body, you'll find emergency warning lights, and then you'll also find a side-facing scene light in the upper portion over the over wheel compartment. Moving toward the rear lower section, you'll find a marker turn indicator arm, and as we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find your emergency warning lights, stop, turn, reverse. At the very top section, you'll find your traffic advisor. Located in the center of the traffic advisor bar area, you'll find your backup camera. As we move down to once again to the very bottom section, this is where your brake, turn, and reverse lights are also located. Full view of the side of the apparatus. Same configuration and layout. Into the body section where you'll find your ladder storage. Midsection, we'll come back to that in great detail. And then onto the cab section. Same configuration and layout with the exception of a side-facing camera. As we move through now, you'll find the graphics information here. This will conclude the additional graphics photos. And now let's move into the front section of the apparatus. We'll talk a little bit about some of the close-ups here in the front bumper section, which we covered at the very beginning. Starting first with an angled picture here of the front bumper extension, moving up to the emergency warning lights, moving now into the driver's space. We'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and electric window controls, and a grab handle. In the step well, you'll find in the forward section an air inlet. Moving now to the base of the seat, where you'll find your voltage for your battery status indicator. When plugged into shoreline power, that will be active. This is your Pierce information placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. This also has the VIN number and all of the component fluid capacities and fluid amounts. As we move to the floorboard on the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren foot pedal, brake treadle, and accelerator. At the left knee of the operator, master battery switch, tech module, engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, ABS diagnostics, DPF, regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch, along with your display port. Moving just up from this location, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions for its operation from road to pump and also from pump to road. Just as a reminder for pump operations, 2 green indicators are necessary, pump engaged, and OK to pump before exiting the cab. As we move to the dash cluster, starting on the left, you'll find your transmission temperature, oil pressure, def level, and water temp. On the right side, you'll find your volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. In the center, tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the tachometer and speedometer. Looking to the right, we'll start first at the very top section. This is your command zone. Tremendous amount of information here. It is a touch screen and also function button. Please see the owner's manual for more information. Engine brake setting for low, medium, and high, mirror heat, and body door lock. Also your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release the rear spring brake, Allison transmission pad, flat mirror, and convex mirror control. Climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find your traffic advisor control module. You'll also find 12-volt access via barrel style, USB, and a siren brake for your mechanical siren. As we look overhead of the driver's position, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, which is 9 feet 8 inches, length 30 feet 11 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 42,000 pounds. You'll also find your switch panels for emergency warning lights. When the switch has been activated, the light will illuminate green around the outer edge, indicating that it's on. Here's a close-up of your Go Light control module and also map light. Also, you'll find your scene lights just to the right of that location. Same thing, when you have lights activated, the green light will illuminate around the edge, as you can see within the load manager switch. Let's move just to the right of this location over the driver's space. You'll find your siren control module and PA speaker system. Moving toward the center section, you'll find a red light flashing indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment or door open. As we look to the rear, there are 2 forward-facing seats. Looking now to the exterior of the cab, you'll find your push-button keyless entry and also shoreline inlet. Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire. Moving now to the rear section of the cab area. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, grab handle, window control, and a door lock. As we look in overhead, you'll find push on or off red or white lenses, your air conditioning unit, and then also as we move just inside the cab area, you'll find your battery charger and also air compressor. When plugged into shoreline power, both of these will become active, maintaining brake pressure and also battery status. Moving just to the right in the center section at the rear portion of the engine is where you'll find your access location for daily checks for oil and transmission. To the rear of the seat area, you'll find an outlet. When plugged into Shoreline Power, this will be active, along with 12-volt access. And then to the very far right, you'll also find 12-volt access via bus bar. We'll move back exterior to the rear portion of the cab, where you'll find an additional saddle compartment located here at the lower section of the cab area. We'll move into the pump panel next, starting first with 3 cross lays, which are located here. As we move down, we have some identifiers for cross lay 1, cross lay 2, and also a dead lay. As we move into the pump panel area, you'll find the electric reel rewind. You'll also find booster control for your 2 booster reel lines up in the dunnage area, along with a red push button for your air horn. Moving just to the right into the red module. This is your Husky foam system. It's a control module along with instructions for its operation. To the right, foam level indicator for tank A. Moving down, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges for your cross lays and also driver 1 and passenger 2. Moving up to the far left-hand side of the panel, you'll find a warning placard here indicating entanglement hazard because those lines coming from aloft. As we move to the right, we have our pressure intake gauge and pressure discharge gauge. Further to the right, you'll find an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate. It's right next to the pressure throttle governor. Further to the right in the gray module, you'll have switches here and also an indicator OK to pump if illuminating. As we move down, you'll find your tank fill in the lower section. Moving further down into the blue module, you'll find your water tank level indicator. Just underneath that, you'll find tank to pump. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find 2 rotational valves, engine cooler, and recirculating line. You'll also find a warning placard in this area indicating fall. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Let's move down on the pump panel, where you'll find your intake relief valve. Instructions for its operation are on the placard. You'll also find your Husky foam system specifications and operating instructions, along with your minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures. As we move further to the right, you'll find the 2 discharges located on the driver's side. And then just to the right area, you'll find an additional warning placard indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, your fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air with instructions for its operation underneath. Also at the very bottom section, your main fire pump drain. Moving down to the lower section, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move across the bottom, you'll find a placard here indicating warning. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after proper training. 2.5-inch locally controlled ball valve, auxiliary inlet. Also warning, foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for possibility of foam failure. Also, this is your Watrous placard indicating the type of pump that you have, and your foam valve for draft or tank, and this is where you would fill your foam tank or draft. As we look to the pan door, there are instructions on the back of the pan door for the foam fill operation or operational position. It's the yellow handle which matches this placard. Also into the running board area, you'll find cutouts for hose storage with dry deck and also Velcro tie downs. These are the foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. Close up here of the Watrous tag indicating a capacity 1,500 GPM along with your minimum operation maintenance schedule. As we move now into the body compartments, we'll start first just in front of the rear axle, adjustable shelf, and also an adjustable pull-out tray in the lower section. As we move to the overwheel compartment in the upper section, you'll find railing in the back wall area. As we move into the lower compartments for your SCBA bottle storage, this is for 3 SCBA bottles with retaining straps. As we move to the rear axle, you'll find Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheel. Moving now to the rear of the axle, where you'll find a single SCBA bottle storage, your ultra low sulfur diesel fill, which is the silver cap, and then also when you fold the flap downward, it exposes the blue cap which is your 4.5 depth fill location. Moving now to the rear compartment, you have adjustable shelves in the upper section, also a pull-out tray in the lower section, the release located on the lower right-hand side. Full view of the apparatus with all compartments open on the driver's side. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus next. Starting first with the cup switches for your hose bed light and hose bed rear scene lights. As we move just inside that location, some warning placards here indicating fall injury, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and also face the vehicle while climbing on or off the vehicle. Also a 2.5-inch discharge. As we move to the upper section, your traffic advisor along with your backup camera. Moving now into the lower compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray in the lower section and 2 fold-down steps on the outer edge. As we move to the right, you'll find a pressure warning cap here indicating pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle, adjustable shelves, also 12-volt access via a bus bar located on the rear wall of the compartment. Additional power via Shoreline. When plugged into Shoreline, those outlets will be active. In the over wheel compartment, we have a tool board. D-handle gains you access to the rear portion of that. It will lock into position. The release for that is located on the hinge side. As we move into the compartment, 2 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining strap and an oxygen bottle storage. To the rear axle, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel. As we move to the forward section, SCBA bottle storage along with an oxygen bottle storage. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. That's why we have this placard indicating here. Be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operations due to the extreme hot temperatures. As we move to the forward compartment, you'll find in the upper section SCBA bottle storage location or pack storage, and then also a lower section with pull-out dividers. As we move into the midsection now, just a warning placard here indicating pressure hazard, and then also additional warning here regarding entanglement hazard because of the lines coming from aloft. As we move into the pump panel area itself, you'll find a push button for the reel rewind. As we move down, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge, and also inside the pan door, you'll find the reservoir for your ladder rack. Moving back to the pump panel itself, you'll find your large diameter discharge and also a 2.5-inch discharge. Moving to the lower section, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. In the forward section, you'll find a 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet locally controlled via the ball valve. You'll also find in the running board section a cutout with dry deck material and Velcro tie downs. We're now into the cab section, lower portion of the cab, an additional storage location. Moving now into the rear portion of the crew cab area. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, and a grab handle. Overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, and your air conditioning unit. General view into the rear cab area. And then now moving to the rear cab wall where you'll find seats, forward facing, and now to the front axle where you'll find Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge. Let's move now into the officer space. Let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, grab handle, door lock and latch, and electric window control. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find a mechanical siren foot pedal. Into the forward section to the right, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. In the top section, you'll find a glove box. And then overhead in the officer space, push on and off white or red lens lights. And then also in the under section here, you'll find a map book reading light, and then also the control module for your Go Light spotlight. All compartments open now on the passenger side. The next set of images are that of the ladder in the deployed, where you'll find a 24-foot extension ladder, a 14-foot roof ladder, a 10-foot folding ladder, and then a long and short pike pole. Let's move up into the hose bed and dunnage area next. First, we'll start with the hose bed, where you'll find 3 hose bed dividers. They are movable. Also, as we move to the dunnage section, this is the location of your foam system, top fill water, and also top fill foam. First, we'll start with the water tank. Moving now to the foam for foam tank A, and then also indicating that this is a warning placard for foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. This is your hydraulic foam pump, fill location in the lower left corner. There are 2 booster reels in the dunnage area along with a master stream device. The master stream does have a extend-a-gun located on it to elevate the monitor and nozzle position above the cab area. As we move to the cab section, we do have some warning placards here. This is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these warning placards indicating of that. Full view of the cab tilted. Let's start now with the engine. I'm on the driver's side. When the cab has been fully tilted, please install the safety bar. Once that is in position, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure in both left and right cab cylinders. Your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension for increased braking and ride ability. Moving now down the driver's side frame rail, this is where your batteries are located. Also on the other side, on the right side frame rail, you'll have additional batteries. In the lower section, the identifier here is your hydraulic reservoir for the cab tilt, and then under the batteries on the driver's side is where you'll find the negative and positive jumper studs. There'll be no additional audio from this point on for the chassis photos. This will conclude the chassis photos. Congratulations, Salem Fire, Oregon, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 40385. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.